Hello. It's very sunny out as you can see, but it's very cold. I was surprised to see some April snow on the ground. Though I did look at the phone while I was talking to my brother yesterday, and it was 45 degrees and still light out. But I didn't know it was gonna snow. I went to sleep late and I woke up late, and I have done absolutely nothing, and the sun is high in the sky. Except for what I have done is drink coffee and watch Noam Chomsky talk for a while about the current situation of the world, and did a little research on the arrests coming out of Massachusetts uh, concerning vials smuggled from the United States to China, and then looked around on YouTube comments to see what people made of that, and made a couple of comments about it, but I don't really know enough about it to speak about it intelligently. Cindy uh, was the first person that told me about this. It's more than one arrest, but the first person that told me that they had made some arrests uh, concerning some professors that worked in the biological field. And then I heard part of a report suggesting that some vials were smuggled into China, so there's some espionage type shit was going back and forth between the United States and China. It's interesting how people were interpreting that, though. But I don't want to speak about it because I have to be more informed and not just shoot from the hip. But I did, one of their comments that I wrote about a guy saying that it was a attack from, this was an interesting theory, that it was an attack from the United States on China because China is a world power. So the United States uh, sends sends over a uh, uncontrollably and highly an uncontrollable and highly communicative uh, virus, and turns it loose in China to ruin China's reputation and to scapegoat China. And what's happening in the United States is we are the number one uh, leader in corona outbreak right now. So it's all just blowback that we were attacking China. And I'm like, well, that uh, is one idea. Another idea is that China attacked itself to attack the world. I mean, people need to mellow out with this kind of stuff because it's not going to do anybody any good. Just let the facts roll in and learn more about it. All this conjecture and stuff, and that dreaded three-letter word that starts with W. It's been coming up a lot, and I also watched a report out of Japan where Japan is like, of course, if you know history, you know that Japan and China, not the best of friends through the centuries, through the millennia, and they don't have a good history together. So China is actually giving their companies incentive. I said that wrong. Japan is giving their companies incentive to pull out of China because China is the world's leading exporter before this hit. I should say maybe was. But you have to accumulate all this information first before you can speak intelligently about it. I'm just telling you what the conclusions other people are jumping to. But anyways, this is really I would have to delve into it a little deeper rather than just be another guy that's like this happened because this happened. And it's like you can't draw these conclusions and uh, until you have all the facts. Um, the aid worker that came over yesterday was a new aid worker, but we had like a whole weird thing. It's like 2 months ago. This I would have never pictured this, but she comes in wearing a mask. The mask is down. I'm like thinking to myself, why do you have a mask on at all if your mask is down? You can't talk to me through the mask. And I checked her hands. She didn't have gloves on. But she was like, you can set your list and your money on the couch and then go over there, you know. And we had a whole thing worked out where she was like, set it over here and then you go sit over here and all that. And at the end of the day, where I had to sign, you got to sign papers and stuff. Um, I don't think I used any gloves when I touched the clipboard that she touched because she had gloves on. Um, but anyways, I signed the papers and she was like, now you can set the clipboard over on the couch. And I'm like, or I could just do this. And I just kicked it across the floor like a hockey puck and hit her in the foot with it. Just slid across the carpet. And she goes, oh, that'll work. I mean, it's just 2 months ago. It just happened so fast that we're just stuck in this bizarre situation. Um, but anyways, I have to concentrate on my own situation and try and improve things for myself. And I did not get up and walk outside today because I got up late. I woke up at 2:30 deliberately so I could start a pattern of waking up early. But I called my brother a little bit late, like 6:30, and that got my mind going. And my mind got going. It's not good for sleeping. And I didn't go to sleep until like midnight or something like that. And so I did not wake up early. And that didn't work out. Even though, like, I'm still taking 15 milligrams of Valium a day. I'm just taking 10 milligrams before I go to sleep and then getting through the middle part of the day with 5 milligrams. I haven't taken any today. And I do pretty good when I'm alone. So, since I mentioned your name already and you wrote me some comments yesterday, and I have so few listeners anyway, it's like, yeah, uh, somebody else that I mentioned earlier is like, alone ain't so bad. Uh, it's not ideal, but it's not so bad. Um, I thought the video I made yesterday was actually pretty entertaining in its own way. I don't know how repetitive because I talk on here so much. I can't keep track of what I said and what I didn't say. I mean, you're talking 300 to 350 videos by now, so I try to come up with new stories. But frankly, my life is not quite that interesting. That's a lot of time to fill, you know. Um, the thing with the geese, though, is very funny that they actually. I swear to God, I've never been attacked by shit before. It was like getting a bunch of shit thrown at you by monkeys at the monkey cage. If they all got coordinated, man, and all wound up like pitchers and threw it at you at the same time. And I could see it coming, man. I could see the bombardier squad coming. So, like I said, I ran underneath a tree and hid. And that's the only way I did not get blasted with goose shit. It's like, I hate geese, man. I hate the way they sound. I hate their attitude. I hate the fact that they think they're badasses when they're not. They're like that little guy that thinks he's a tough guy. Or like somebody they want to bully you when they're a freaking bird. It's like about all you can do. You have webbed feet. You don't have ostrich feet for kicking. About all you can do is goose somebody. That's where that term comes from. They bite you, and of course I had this happen before, and they twist, and it hurts a little bit. That's about it. One of the funniest things I ever saw. I have no idea why this goose did this, except for that goose are nature's dicks. Or maybe a better phrase would be goose are nature's assholes. But I already said that about skunks, so I had to come up with something new. So skunks are nature's assholes, but goose and geese are nature's dicks. because we're doing this park style fishing, where you sit, you're just more or less having a gab fest, and you're sitting by the water, and we're fishing at this place that's just loaded with channel catfish, which would be cool, except for the water's all murky. I don't like to eat catfish anyway, and you wouldn't want to eat nothing out of that water. But a goose came up behind my brother while he was sitting in one of those lawn chairs that has like the straps, like a plaid pattern with spaces open. It just bit him in the ass for no reason. It's just like there was absolutely no provocation and no reason to behave in such a fashion. My brother jumps up and says, "What the fuck? Hey!" You know. And I sat there and I watched it because I was sitting a little further back from him. And I watched the whole thing like in puzzlement. Like, what is this animal doing? And there was no reason for it. It was hilarious. But yeah, that's a goose for you, man. The other thing I like about geese is they're not unattractive to look at, and they're cool when they fly in that V formation when they're not trying to shit on you. But they look cool flying through the sky. But that honking noise they make is horrible. Our childhood favorite fishing spot was polluted with geese, and it was really not a fishing spot to the owners of the property because we would trespass there. They liked geese, so that they at the breeding part of the season, they would have like these floating beds, like nests for the geese, and they would have cords strapped across the pond. The pond was loaded with every kind of fish you could think of. Mainly largemouth bass and pickerel, but you can catch just about anything out of there. It's not a very big pond. And yeah, I caught 23 fish there once. And what I catch? 16 pickerel and 9 largemouth bass. And yeah, we didn't keep a lot of fish out of there, but I had a tradition where I would always go fishing there around my sister's birthday, my older sister's birthday, and then that would be my birthday present to her, is because she likes fresh caught fish, is I would go and catch her some fish and clean them out and cook them for her. She likes being cooked for too, so I guess my younger brother does that for her now since she don't like me no more. Now that I have become difficult. But it got harder and harder in the place. Somehow it became harder to catch keeper-sized fish out of this pond. But anyways, I don't know how interesting that stuff is, but I know that I did not pick up my guitar yesterday. I was wiped out after my walk in the morning and taking the garbage out and cutting up those boxes, and then they rearranged the time that the aide came, and she came earlier in the day. And yeah, I just felt wiped out. And then I was planning on going to sleep literally before 8 o'clock at night because I was just tired. But then I talked to my brother. My brother's doing good. He went fishing again, had a horrible fishing trip, but he was actually talked about the process of burying his dog. If you can imagine burying he said the dog's weight was down to 132 pounds, but you can imagine the size of hole that you would have to dig and how 132 pounds, the process. I steered away from it, but he actually brought it up and was able to talk about it and stuff, so he seems to be he's okay. He seems to be processing it all very well. I'm still going to call him every day. And I told him last night, you can just tell me you don't feel like talking or whatever. But I'm going to call him every day for a while. But he seems to be doing good. But then again, he went fishing the last couple of days. And even though he said that was like one of the worst fishing trips he was ever on, it's still getting out of the house and doing something. It's very strange when you live alone, and I can't imagine it. Like when you're with a dog and you live alone, the dog's a big part of your day. It's like feeding the dog, walking the dog, interacting with the dog, and then that's just gone. And like I said, a dog never gives you shit. A dog's always happy to see you. It doesn't judge. It doesn't criticize. And that is why people love dogs. And like I said, they can watch 1,000 people get beheaded in a movie, but you kick one dog, they don't like it. It's because dogs, people can be very much a pain in the ass. And dogs just never give you any shit. They never judge your personality. They never uh, squawk at you, complain at you, annoy or bore you, unless you got one of them dogs that like um, this dog named Sadie loved to play like fetch, and she would just like annoy you constantly. And with the fetch thing, I think she would play fetch until her legs were whittled down to stubs. But she would come back and bring the thing and throw it at you. You know, like you're supposed to throw it. She would like throw it at you and like bring back something and throw it on your lap. And then if you wouldn't throw it, she'd just sit there and sit there. And you're like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. You put it aside. You'd almost have to hide it behind you. Or she would go get it and throw it back at you. You know, if you put it on the couch beside you, Jaw Dog would jump out on the couch and throw it at you. And like, no, we're not done. That was a cool dog. Um, Gone now. Uh, anyways, I don't know how my day is going to shake out here. I don't. My head feels a little weird. I did not eat well yesterday, which wasn't cool. The best meal I had was some Raisin Bran, but I ate like some potato chips and some crackers, and I just didn't really have a solid meal. Meals on Wheels is definitely canceled for me because that's 2 weeks in a row where they brought nothing, and I don't think I have to call them to confirm that I can't. I don't want to eat them things anyway. I got like maybe 15 frozen dinners in the freezer. Very few seem edible to me. You know, I don't have a whole lot of appetite anyway. But we'll see how today shakes out as far as like what I want to do. And I think I will go out and at least go in the back there and check things out in the back and see if I can get a chair set up back there. Though I don't think I'll be sitting out and enjoying the weather today because, like I said, snow. Though I don't mind, walking. I like walking when it's cold, and I used to love walking while it was snowing because it was so pretty. But as far as just sitting there in the cold, never enjoyed that particularly. So, yeah, April snows bring May depressions. April snow in April in Ohio is never fun. It just happens sometimes. I've seen snow as late as June 3rd, so. But, yeah, I didn't look at the houses or the choices that I was given. So when I get done here, I should look at that. I know I scratched 2 of them off the list. I only have 2 to look at, and I should contact the Brent guy that sent me the links and find one of them to explore. Right now with the COVID situation, like I said, moving is dicey. The landlord has not yet contacted me about the rent that's due on the 1st. It is, I believe, now the 10th, so we'll see how that goes. Not much else to say except for that I really do need to go about my day and get some nutrition in me and figure out what I'm going to do. But yeah, that should be first thing I need to do is eat some breakfast, and then I need to look at those houses and see if like I need to keep in contact with this guy, so he doesn't lose interest. I mean, the last thing I need to do is just sit there on the computer and read about all these world events and stuff. I have to keep one foot in front of the other and keep everything on a practical level as far as uh, my daily living, the exercise that I need to do, and the things that I need to do. And yeah, my psychiatric nurse made a good point. It's like, yeah, okay, so you want to step the landlord, but you don't have any other place to go. And you'll have a big wad of cash and no other place to go. That's not going to help you very much, because, say, yeah. So I have to see if any of those places are suitable, at least for temporary lodging. But then I have to weigh that against the risk of me getting sick and um, dying, of course, because I have already have compromised health. So I may just stay here and just live in this shithole rent free and concentrate on working out, walking, eating better. But it's depressing living here. I hate living here. It's depressing, like looking out the peephole. Is there anybody in the hallway? And it's just, you know, I just hate it here. So plus the place is falling apart. It's like, suppose like there's a plumbing mishap, and then I have to deal with the landlord anyways. I was thinking about that yesterday, and while I haven't paid him for rent, you know, or but this place is falling apart. Uh, there's so many things. The wiring's like iffy in here. There's holes in the walls. There's windows that are guillotine windows that don't stay open by themselves and are real super heavy to lift. I have to actually, for leverage, either rest my head against the wall or my hand just for leverage. I'm fairly strong upper body wise to lift up this window in the living room. The bathroom cabinet's collapsing. I don't know what support it's holding for the sink or not. This place is just nasty. Obviously, I'm not going to be being Hazel. There's an old reference that I'm not even sure if it's correct. It's so old. And, you know, cleaning everywhere with a bad leg and worrying about falling over. So it's pretty funky in here. But yeah, last thing I need to do is get wrapped up in up here. I need to worry about this. Get wrapped up and do what I did this morning and read a whole bunch on the computer and write a little bit. Tiny, just wrote a couple of posts. That's just so easy for me to do and ignore the needs of the body. I need exercise and I need food. I need to move around in general. And the one thing I will do on the computer today, or maybe I'll just shoot the guy a text, and just maybe I'll do that like right now. Text the guy, and it's boring for you to watch. So just text the guy, man, how you doing? How you living? Anybody you know get sick? Anything like something like that to try to keep contact with this dude. But I don't even know if like moving now is a good idea. Because I put up that graph and it's like, oh, you're in the highest demographic for fatalities. And sometimes I do feel like short of breath and it's a respiratory thing, but I don't know what that's about. I know the walk that I took yesterday wasn't particularly comfortable, but I didn't have, my heart was kicking while I was walking, but I didn't have a lot of breathing problems. But sometimes I feel like short of wind, and it is what it is, You keep going, you keep trying. It's been like this for me for forever. Even even back in the day, when I was much better off and my symptoms were fairly mild, they would probably not be mild to other people. You know, neuropathy is neuropathy, and muscle wasting is muscle wasting, and I had that in my left calf as long as I can remember my left calf. When I used to be able to stand up on my toes, which I cannot do at all now. But even then, it's like my right was doing all the work and my left was just kind of hanging around. I'm talking about when I was like 25. So there was never those good old days that I talk about. They really weren't that good. It's just a comparison thing. So, anyways, I'm gonna get off here and start my day. I appreciate the input from anybody that bothers to comment. Of the 20 people or so that watch this, and like I said, I'll be here every day unless the computer screws up like it did that one day. So if you need to check in and see a familiar face, here it is. And I'll see you tomorrow. Good luck with today and all your endeavors, or if you're watching this at night, I hope you had a good day. And good luck with the next day. Goodbye.